Hey, look what y'all have found. Look what you found, beautiful.
I know, my lucky day.
You found me, Justin DeWeese, and that's my
Do we
wife. What? What I do?
like the aggressiveness of your tone and then the eyes and the looked a little psychotic there for a moment.
Well, guess what? I'm a
What?
little psychotic.
I'm aware.
So maybe watch what you're saying. That's all. Like, anyway, I'm Justin DeWeese. That's my wife, Ashley DeWeese, in a non-aggressive sort of tone. And this is the Off the Cuff podcast. Welcome.
Oh my
That-
gosh, stop.
Is that better?
No, it's not.
Just drain the life out of me.
I'm gonna speak to your boss.
You don't exhibit enough passion. Ew, not like that. That's
Oh my
psychotic.
gosh.
Take a pic, lady.
That is like that's the new phrase in our house, huh? Ew, not like that.
Well, I mean, we've had this conversation and it applies to so many realms and so many people's thought processes now.
It does. I get it.
So, anyway,
What a
how are
week.
you?
Hey, I am grateful to be here.
Well, good. Good, good,
Yeah.
good.
I mean, it's been a week.
It has been an interesting week.
So, for those of you that don't know, which would be most of you, well, not most of you, some of you
I,
who
you know,
follow.
right.
Oh, I'm just saying there's people who listen in and watch that they do know what's going on. Anyways,
No, I know. Gosh. Gosh.
my father-in-law, Justin's father, had open heart surgery this week, just 2 days ago, because we are literally recording this the day that you're going to be able to access it, which is not typically how we do it, but it's just how it's happening this week. So yeah, 2 days ago, open heart surgery. So it's been, that on top of just regular roles and responsibilities. It's been a week.
School and sports and things and all the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been you know, it's one of those that like nobody wants to have a season like this, right? Where it's just chaos. But at the same time, it's that whole you can't appreciate the light without the dark sort of thing. So
Right.
like you can't appreciate like normalcy and routine without everything being thrown wackadoo every once in a while?
Yeah. And excuse me. Kind of our focus here today is to just share some takeaways that we've had for the week. Not really, I wouldn't say that I actually learned new lessons this week. I think this week there's just been some reminders.
Sure.
And I think that that is important to know that we talk about this often in my coaching programs of how, there comes a point, it's not like you're never going to be taking in brand new information, right?
Right.
Uh, but really, to me, what I have begun to understand is most important throughout life and our growth and pursuing what it is you want is the reminders of the things that you already know. Um, Reminders as well as new frames,
Sure.
right?
Well, that's to me, that's the importance of pursuing new experiences, books, whatever, right? Because yeah, maybe it is the same information, but if you put a different frame on it or look at it from a different perspective,
Mhm.
now it's like a completely different thing and you can learn new things from it?
Well, yeah, and you might learn new things from it, or it may just simply, which is necessary, strengthen what you already believed or what you are already doing, right? It helps you become even more convicted
Sure. Sure.
about something. So I think all of that matters. But yeah, it's been a week for sure that we haven't experienced in this way in a while. I mean, let's be honest, we are not new to major life happenings.
I mean, is anybody? Like we all get the things, right?
Right, which was kind of trippy. Not really trippy because we obviously knew what hospital we were going to for his surgery in different way. But it was kind of strange because, or I don't know how if you'd say strange or trippy or like deja vu-y, just because this was clearly a significant surgery for him, but it was also same hospital, even like the same ICU waiting room that both of us were in however many years ago, 5 years ago now, 5 years ago, something like that.
More than that,
It's 2018, so
right?
7 years ago,
7 years.
um, when my mom had her craniotomy, same hospital, same ICU, which we knew, but when we walked into the ICU, the waiting room, you were like, this looks very familiar.
Yeah, I mean, I got more important things to carry around in my active memory, you know?
Agreed, but it was like, oh, and it's funny to me how quickly though, like memories and situations, especially when they made a big imprint, they come back like plain as because as soon as we walked into that waiting room, like immediately, like my brain brought forward you know, things I did during that time that we were in that waiting room for the period of time that we were in and
Right.
what that was like all of that. It was just I don't know, it's our brain is very, very powerful. And so it was just kind of interesting having
Yeah,
this new
it's
experience in a place that we had had a previous experience.
yep. I was amazed that I recognized your surgeon
Oh yeah. Then my surgeon from my
because I don't,
appendectomy
right?
last year
Because
came through.
normally I don't recognize people like that. That like
He
it
doesn't
just
even let's be honest, like you don't even recognize people that really like you should recognize at
well,
times.
yeah, I was gonna probably say that in a more toned down way, like,
We don't tone things down here. It's off the cuff.
but no, like, because that dude, I guess ultimately we saw him twice.
Yeah.
Saw him for a little bit the night of her surgery, and then a couple weeks later for like 10 minutes in a follow
For
up.
my follow up.
And like
He
that,
was
normally
up.
that's the kind of person like my brain goes not gonna need that face anymore, and
Well,
just
yeah, and you were the one because my back was to him, so you were the one
right.
who even saw him off the cuff, off the bat.
Oh, come on. Yeah,
Anyways,
the brain works mysterious ways.
so yeah, so we thought we'd talk about just some. I mean, we already kind of given some takeaways here, but just kind of takeaways from the week that came up. You know, all the things. So, do you want to kick us off?
Oh, I knew you were gonna do that.
Well,
Um,
I can. I just try to offer up the mic to talk first before I. Everybody knows I talk a little bit more than you do.
you, yeah, everybody does know that. No, the easiest and obvious one is when you're doing something, who is around you has a huge impact on what that's like, right? Because obviously open heart surgery is not a light undertaking. And, a dude's 75, so anything at that age has added risk and whatnot, right?
Dude, meaning his dad.
Yeah. But um the DeWeese family, bigger picture, has no problem laughing at inopportune and inappropriate times.
Oh, absolutely.
And so it makes things easier when you're sitting in a waiting room on something big like open heart surgery to have a crew that like you enjoy spending time with and eases the tension and does all the things, right? And again, like that's not like holy shit, what an amazing discovery you've made, Justin. Nobody's ever had this thought, right? But it's just one of those, to your point
It's a
earlier,
reminder, right?
right? It came up and popped out this week.
Well, and I feel like maybe to additionally set the stage here of what we'll be sharing, since you said like, oh, that's probably not, any sort of, oh, wow, I've never heard that before for people listening. But that's our goal here, right? It's not just to share with you takeaways that we had from the week that were things we already knew and just were reinforced, but to hopefully let something that we share today be that kind of reminder for you, right?
Right.
Most of what we're going to share is going to be something that is not new for you. But when's the last time that you've actually brought it to the forefront of
Right.
your eyes and your mind to be like, oh, yeah, that does matter. Oh, yeah, maybe I've gotten a little lackadaisical with this particular area and I need to put a little bit more time and attention to it. Um, no, absolutely. One of the things that I do, well, a couple of the things that I cherish the most about our family is that one, you know, crazy enough, even though we all live near each other, um, it's not like we see each other every single day. I mean, we
Correct.
could, but we don't.
It's
Everybody
probably for the best we don't.
it's probably for the best. Everybody has things going on, and we don't even necessarily talk to a family member every single day. But you know, it doesn't when it counts, like we are there. We are there, and we it's like we do see each other every single day, right?
Right.
And also, like, we're not a family that dwells and stews over the negative, right?
Correct. We are not
E-
dwellers nor stewers.
no, even though there are members of our family that has a tendency to be a little bit more anxious. I'm not the only one.
I wouldn't. Whoa, man. Nobody said nothing.
No, but even though there are members of our family like that do tend to be a little bit more anxious and cautious about things, just the dynamic between all of us just doesn't allow for dwelling.
Right.
In fact, if someone does try to go to that place, real quick, someone is like, knock that shit off, right? And it's very, very powerful. So, like you said, I agree. It was nice, whether we were chumming around, chatting or whatever, and laughing and saying stuff that, you know, the rest of the people in the waiting room or hospital might have been side eyeing. The DeWeese family doesn't really give a shit.
Don't have time for it, man.
Don't have time for it. Don't have time for it. So it was nice and just being in each other's presence. I think there's power in, I know there's power. There's power in presence. There's power in the people that you are surrounded by. And just to kind of a sub piece of your point, um, because I have enough. This doesn't need to count for one of mine.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. I see what you're doing.
But, for us in this particular capacity, we are speaking about our immediate family. Um, but it does go beyond that. Like the takeaway and reminder is who who are your core people? Like who are the people that when tough stuff happens in life, like they're there, no question, hands down, right? And whether that means they're there physically or they're there virtually, like they're there. What's the little smirk for?
Nothing. I'm entertained about a person saying hands down while they're
See, you're the kind of
simulcasting
person that
this
now you're
in
just
American Sign
totally
Language.
you're distracting from the important piece of the message
Uh,
because you're focused on like this little silly detail.
First off, you did that. You could have just kept trucking. I'll ask him later what that was for. Nope, I'm going to stop the podcast, ask him what it's for, and then
Because if
blame it
I
on
notice,
him.
other people notice, and they're like, "What? He's not even paying attention to the words that are coming out of her mouth."
Ma'am, I seldom pay attention to the words coming out of
I'm
your
very
mouth.
aware. I'm very aware. Anyways, the bigger lesson
Anyways,
is just who are truly your people, and I think maybe that kind of segues into one of my points is you know tough times, challenging times, however you want to describe them. I believe really reveal uh the real ones. I guess would be the way I would say that. You know,
yeah,
like who are the people in your life that really do have your back? Who are the people in your life that really do like give a shit about you beyond the surface level, right?
right.
beyond the surface level, like who's there? Because it can be very revealing of, you know, who's just kind of there, in when it serves them well or is convenient for them versus who really like cares about you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's that old cliche, right? It's like everybody claps for you when you're winning,
And everybody
right?
claps for you when whatever you're doing, whether it's winning or whatever, is benefiting them.
Well, yeah, that's same thing, right? But it's the ones that are pulling for you, cheering you on, whatever, when it's down, like you
Right.
said, that's the real ones.
Well, and to be honest, not everybody claps for you when you're winning either. That's
Well, that
that's another
is,
conversation.
yeah, that's a whole nother ep.
But yeah, so I mean, I think things like this just reveal they don't reveal new sides to people. They reveal things that are already there. It just
Right,
shows up more profoundly during that
right,
time. So again, it's important to be intentional in crafting your core people. Craft your core people. Know who they are. Know who aren't those people, right? Be very aware. Be very aware of those things. So I don't know if you want to count that as one of mine and move on to your next or what. You know
I
what you guys
mean,
think.
you
Yeah,
literally said, and here's one
I
of
did.
mine,
I did. I did. I
right?
just didn't know if you
And then you
decided to
got
count it.
through with it, and you're like, I don't know if you want to count that. I got three that we can cover.
I got plenty we can cover. Go.
Um,
Nothing else for you.
that we are we're capable more than we think that we are, right? And we don't always know what we're capable of.
I would say we rarely know what we're actually capable
Well,
of.
sure. I'm just saying, like, even in like a random situation, like it's just we underestimate like our toughness, our resiliency, and that's another one of those things that is revealed, right? Just like the real people are revealed when you go through whatever. Um, Same thing. You're gonna reveal things about yourself, or maybe new ways to look at yourself. Um, because we were walking out of. We went and saw Dad in the ICU at the first time we could see him after his surgery, and he was hooked up and had all the things, and it's
And
not
by we, he meant him and his mom.
right. Um, it's not if you've not experienced seeing someone that you love and care for in that position, it can be pretty rough. Anyway, so we did that, and then I was walking Mom back out to the waiting room, and she said she was glad that I was there, and she thanked me for being strong for her that day. And I was thinking, I was like, that's not necessarily a way I would have thought of myself previously. So, it's like I said, it's just one of those things that the situations reveal, you know?
Yeah, you learn things about yourself that you didn't realize or that you can tend to downplay or
Right.
underplay,
Nah,
not even realize the impact you have on other people.
right. And then not to belabor a point that we throw out in like every damn podcast to you people. Like just if you guys would listen, I'd quit saying it. But it's um dang it, now I got distracted. Spaced it out.
Well, maybe it'll come back. I'll fill in again, kind of a sub point of this because some of what you're saying ends up leading
Because
me
we don't want
to
to use up your good points. I get it.
no, but it's not something I was going to use as a core, but because of what you said, it led me to think of another takeaway that would make sense. And so I did not take the opportunity initially when we could first see Terry to go and see him. Because when they came, well, first of all, like obviously his actual wife and blood children should be the first, in my opinion, to go and see him. And so you
Right.
were. Um, but when they came back out and they were like, he looks pretty rough, and whatnot, we talk about often the importance of knowing yourself, right? Learning about yourself and knowing about yourself and those kinds of things so that you can make more intentional decisions that serve
Right.
you or others well. And this was a case where I chose that not to go see him at that particular time because of my previous experiences with my mom and then with my dad's death and whatnot. There were just things that I already knew about myself that I still am working through to fix, to heal, whatever you want to say. And so, obviously, half of me is like, well, of course I want to go see him, right? Like, he just had the surgery.
Right.
I want to see for myself
Right.
that, like, he's okay and I love him. Like, obviously, like, he's, your guys' dad by blood, but like, he's
Right.
the only living dad that I have.
Right.
Um, and so it was a lot for me from, obviously for you guys it was a lot in one capacity. For me, this was an experience of not
Right.
only was this someone I love through marriage, but this is also like deeply connected to my own experiences with my own dad and my own mom. And so anyways, I knew, and obviously you did as well. What? Here's another episode where Ashley's crying.
No.
What? Oh,
No, our
her.
daughter walked by and
I
smiled
know.
at me, so I smiled back. Okay? Like, it's not always about you, princess.
As
I
I
love
keep
you.
talking about me right now, but I'm trying to share what I feel like's a learning moment and
I know.
valuable.
Again, you're the one that stopped it, not me.
I'm just saying. So I knew enough about the parts of me that uh what I struggle with and what are
Right.
challenging for me that I'm working on, but my life experience that this was not the time because it would have it would have not been good.
Right. Well, and that was what my point was. You've got to we say it on all these podcast episodes, but you've got to be willing to examine yourself and be that self-aware, right? Because I might have missed the lesson that I got out of it. If you weren't self-aware, you might put yourself in a position that is going to make things very rough for you
Well, and not
emotionally,
just for me, right? But
right? And
then,
then
like, how
everybody
would that
else,
have
right?
bled on everyone
Right.
else, right? So,
Right.
all of that. And then also at the same, additionally with this, so not only having the awareness to be like, hey, this hits too close to home with something that's only going to stir things up and then wreak havoc over me, bleed all over everybody else, which is not the focus of today and all the
Right.
things.
Right.
But in addition to that, like we discuss, not just the importance of that self awareness, but then how do you move through that? So I also had in my brain, like the whole time, thinking about it wasn't just, I'm not going to go see him at all, ever, because I can't handle this. This thing happened to me.
Right.
This traumatic thing happened to me in my past. So I just can't. It
Right.
wasn't that. It was just knowing myself enough to look at the timing and to think outside of myself and others. And then also be looking at, okay, so what does need to happen in order for me to quote unquote overcome this
Right.
in this situation, right? And so eventually, we did find the right time where it made sense and where I knew that I felt okay enough to go
Right.
and do that. So the point there is, again, yes, that's my experience, but what I hope the takeaway for others is, again, that self-awareness, not allowing your past to dictate your current actions, but to understand that depending on where you are in that process of overcoming and healing, that to be self-aware enough to be mindful of the current situation and how it might impact, And so that you take that pause, you take that breath to make more intentional choices that will
Right.
not only serve you well, but the people in your current environment and so forth, and also allow you to move forward, right? Because at some point, I hope that that doesn't have such the hold that it does. But right now, that's where
Well,
we
right.
were.
Of
And
course.
you do
Right.
things. So, um,
We got time for one more. So
one more.
I know you've got a list of like 30 that we
I
haven't even
do. I
started
do.
on.
I know. But I will just,
Give us your best shot.
I was reminded of, reconvicted about something that on a day-to-day basis, uh, can be a challenge for everyone. And I kind of have been in this space lately. But I was just reminded in these last few days the power of just not giving a, I won't say it all the way out loud. Because in these last couple of days, it was just a reminder of the shit that matters and the shit that doesn't.
Right. Yep.
And I can make a list of things that on any given day and any given like second can creep in and you sweat about, or you spend a little bit too much time worrying about or bitching about or being concerned with or caught up with, right? And in these last couple of days, like some of the things that I had been kind of like, caught up in, sad about, mad about, frustrated about, stressed about, whatever. These last couple days, I literally on multiple times in my brain, I was like, and this is why you need to not give AF. Not as in you
Right.
don't care or aren't concerned, but like when I'm, hey, dude, like when we're in this situation right here, like all that stuff doesn't effing matter. It doesn't effing matter. It's not as big as your brain makes it out to be on a day to day basis when you don't have something as significant of this going on in your life. And I think that's what we have to remember because every day we're not all going to be in a situation that is life threatening or is
Right.
super big and traumatic and whatever. Like that's not going to happen every day. Thank the Lord. But yet, it's those times that actually remind us of the
Right.
shit that we need to keep at the forefront on an everyday basis. Because other people's opinions, what other people want of you, how successful you are at this, what you failed at that, like all of those things meant nothing
Right.
in the last couple of days. I didn't give a shit, you know?
Yep.
And I told myself in these last couple of days, like you've got to hold on to this. Like I got the time. You've got to hold on to
You're
this.
good.
You've got to keep this sitting on your shoulder every single day. Because yeah, you've got to sweat some things. You do got to pay attention to some things, but not to the level that we can sometimes
Right.
take it of it feeling like it's this
Well,
huge
it's that
fucking
whole
deal. And it's not in the grand scheme
it
of things. It's
it's
not.
that idea of majoring in the minor things,
Yeah.
right? We like to major all of our focus on these little things that ultimately don't matter instead of the big ones that matter more than anything else. We get caught
Right.
up.
Oh my gosh, what if I state my true opinion in this social media post today and someone gets upset or offended? Maybe my words are a little too, I don't give a, because in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't flipping matter. It doesn't flipping matter. Like me or don't like me. Get with the ways that I want to live my life or don't get the ways that I want to live my life. Have fun in the same things that I have fun in, don't have fun in them. It doesn't matter when you're sitting there in a situation where you can potentially lose someone that you care the
Right.
most about. Like it doesn't
Right.
fucking matter. And we
Right.
need to live our life more like that on a day to day basis. Focus on the shit that matters and let the other shit roll off. It will all work out. It will.
Real talk, sis.
So, with that, life is not completely paused for us. We've got
No,
stuff
we
going
got things
on.
we gotta go.
We will be heading back to the hospital again today. But we are grateful for our life, for our family's life, for your life. We're grateful that you're listening to this, however and whenever you're listening to it. And just the reminders for you, focus on what matters. Who are your true people?
Right.
You're stronger than you think you are at any given moment. Um, and live more from a mentality of like, that doesn't fucking matter. I don't give a
Right.
fuck because this is what matters most on a day-to-day basis. We can't close this out without saying it. Um, if you are not actively being intentional about your health and well-being, I'm going to say it, wake the fuck up
Right.
and start taking care of yourself. Do not wait until
Right.
something happens to do
Right.
that.
Choose to wake up instead of having that wake up forced upon you.
Yeah. All right. We love you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.